And OpenAI have admitted they have better models internally as well, even before the next cluster build out.
So they're pulling their
And
punches.
yeah, because it makes more sense as you head towards AGI to actually not release the best model to everyone.
The biggest players in AI are no longer showing us their best cards. What we just saw with the GPT-5 launch isn't the full story. It's a carefully crafted narrative for the public, while the real revolution happens behind closed doors. A recent roundtable of AI insiders just laid bare what's actually going on. They started by discussing a crucial point that I think changes everything. The top labs are deliberately holding back their most powerful creations.
The other thing that I think is that for the first time, I think what we saw was that there's a big gap between what the consumer gets and what the lab has. And we actually saw a few OpenAI people say that. Like before this came out, we had Horizon and Zenith as the two models on this LM arena, where you compare secret models against each other. They chose to release Horizon, but Zenith was better. And OpenAI have admitted they have better models internally as well, even before the next cluster build out.
So they're pulling their punches.
Yeah, because it makes more sense as you head towards AGI to actually not release the best model to everyone, particularly because it's more expensive to inference. GPT 4.5 was so expensive, and that was their frontier model at the time, but it was too expensive for anyone to use. For normal tasks, for the 700 million people tasks. For the genius tasks, you don't want to give someone else that AI. You just use it for yourself to outcompete everyone else. So I think we'll see that bifurcation of decent models for everyone, for everyday tasks for 700 million, and then you make $700 million using the other model, because it's the only logical thing to do.
This is the most important concept to grasp right now. We're in an era of strategic deception in AI development. The model you and I get to use is the consumer-grade mass market version, designed to be cheap enough for 700 million users. The real frontier models are being kept in-house. These are the new strategic assets, the digital uranium that will be used to outcompete rivals and accelerate their own research. This isn't just about managing costs. It's a deliberate choice to create two tiers of intelligence in the world, one for us and one for them. So if they're holding the best models back, what was the real point of the public GPT-5 launch? As the panel points out, the real headline was buried.
So I think the buried headline here is the hyper deflation that we're seeing in the cost of intelligence. That ultimately, I think, ends up being even more transformative than just narrow capabilities at ultra high cost. You could run the thought experiment. What would happen if we could build super intelligent computers so unaffordably that human civilization can't afford it? Compare that with what happens when intelligence is too cheap to meter, that everyone can afford it. I think that's the central discussion.
I think you'll see Google and OpenAI compete on that left-hand curve effectively.
This is a declaration of economic warfare. By collapsing the cost of a frontier-level model, OpenAI just made state-of-the-art AI accessible to hundreds of millions of people. This move isn't about wowing us with a new feature. It's about achieving market saturation and making their platform the default utility for intelligence, like electricity or water. They are commoditizing the previous generation's magic to build an unbreachable moat, and it forces everyone else to compete on price, a game OpenAI is now positioned to win. And while the launch was framed as an incremental step, there was one area where the mask slipped, and we saw a truly profound leap forward.
Yeah, I think this is perhaps the most exciting benchmark to come out of GPT-5 in the past 24 to 48 hours. So what's exciting here, if you look at the performance of GPT-5 High in the lower right-hand corner, Frontier Math Tier 4. So Frontier Math Tier 4 is a benchmark that measures the ability of AIs to solve problems that would take professional mathematicians sometimes weeks to solve, but nonetheless problems for which there are known answers. We're starting to see increments on Frontier Math Tier 4 that, if you extrapolate them, suggest that, and I've gone through this exercise, and it's a running discussion between me and the folks at Epic AI. If you project this forward, you find, by, again, the law of straight lines, by the end of this year, Frontier AI are starting to reach 15 to 20% of hard math problems being solvable by AI. Project that forward another year, So by the end of 2026, you get to 35 to 40% of math, hard math being solved. Projected forward to 2027 end of year, you get to 70%. So what I think we're staring at is a slow motion solution to math. And
I cannot overstate how significant this is. We are watching, in real time, an AI develop the ability to solve the fundamental language of the universe. The panel's projection of solving 70% of hard math by 2027 is staggering. This isn't about better calculators. This is the engine that will unlock new physics, new materials science, and engineering paradigms we can't even conceive of yet. This single benchmark is a quiet revolution hiding in plain sight. But the war isn't just being fought in pure research. It's also happening in the commercial trenches, as a seemingly simple demo revealed.
The questions that were coming out was, is this an anthropic killer, right?
Yeah.
Here's my question about this. Please. So you generate this web page, web app, right? But if, let's say I'm a language startup and I want to launch that actual product. There's a huge amount of back-end stuff I have to do to make it systems integrated with Stripe, et cetera, et cetera. And we're finding that that's where all of the work is going. And therefore, this graded through up a front end and looks good like a front end prototype. Is it actually doing that much behind the scenes, or is there still a lot of the work? And that's the question I have for the folks on the that we have here.
Here's my question for you guys. How should someone listening to this who hasn't played with GPT-5, let's call it that, play with their own vibe coding on this? What's their first step? What do they do? How do they play?
That demo of building a French learning app was completely misunderstood by most people. Strategically, it was a kill shot. Coding has been Anthropic's stronghold, their key differentiator. By showing that GPT-5 could not only match that capability, but do it in a slick, integrated environment, and then undercutting them on API pricing, OpenAI declared total war on Anthropic's core business. This wasn't about teaching French. It was a ruthless move to corner the developer market, which is the gateway to every single future application. But just as we're processing OpenAI's moves, Google reminds us that this is a multi-front war and unleashes something that feels like science fiction.
What you're seeing are not games or videos. They're worlds. Each one of these is an interactive environment generated by Genie 3, a new frontier for world models. With Genie 3, you can use natural language to generate a variety of worlds and explore them interactively, all with a single text prompt. Let's see what it's like to spend some time in a world. Genie 3 has real-time interactivity, meaning that the environment reacts to your movements and actions. You're not walking through a pre-built simulation. Everything you see here is being generated live as you explore it. And Genie 3 has world memory. That's why environments like this one stay consistent.
This is not a video game. This is the birth of infinite interactive realities generated from a simple text prompt. It's the technology that makes the Star Trek holodeck inevitable. The implications are almost too vast to process. Forget entertainment for a moment. This is how we will train our future humanoid robots, by letting them experience millions of lifetimes in these simulated worlds before they ever touch the real one. This is how we'll simulate and design our future cities. Google didn't just show a new product. They demonstrated a new foundation for reality itself. This incredible technological arms race is fueling an unprecedented economic shift, and the battle for talent has reached absurd levels. And all of this competition, all this investment, is leading to one ultimate, mind-bending conclusion.
A lot of people worried about Chinese open models going everywhere, and OpenAI have released a really solid model. It's a bit weird, it has to be said. But the main thing is, this model costs $4 million to train, and it's better than any model that we had this time last year.
That's extraordinary.
Next year, it will cost $400,000 to train a model.
How did you know it was $4 million to train? Did they release that?
They said 2 million H100 hours. And the 20 billion parameter model that runs on your laptop was 10 times cheaper. It was 2 million. It's $2 an hour.
This is the ultimate endgame, the radical democratization of intelligence creation. The cost to train a world-class model is collapsing by an order of magnitude every year. The idea that in the near future, you or I could train a model on par with today's best for the cost of a seed round is world-changing.
The power that is currently concentrated in a few mega labs is about to be distributed globally. The primary barrier to entry will no longer be capital or compute. It will be pure imagination. What happens when the power to build a godlike intelligence is no longer in the hands of a few corporations, but in the hands of anyone with a good idea? We are on the verge of an explosion of creativity and disruption that will make the internet boom look like a minor tremor. So the question you need to ask yourself is, when this power becomes available, what will you build? Let me know your moonshot idea in the comments, like this video and subscribe to stay ahead of the curve.